I'm back. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Raptors. I'm your host, Ahtisham, my channel where you get reviews, analysis, predictions, and hot takes on all things Raptors as well as some NBA. So, the Raptors had their game today against the Washington Wizards at home at 6 p.m. Eastern Time in Toronto. In the shitty ass weather that we're seeing outside right now for all the people that do live in Toronto. Anyways, guys, so without further ado, let's talk Raptors versus Washington. So this game was pretty much over in the first quarter. The Raptors came out and just defensively locked the hell out of the Washington Wizards. They scored 12 points in the first quarter, and it didn't really help also that they weren't making shots either. And I think that had a lot to do with the Raptors' new defensive scheme that they're using for the past two games. And we go up by 11 by the first quarter. It seems like maybe it might become a game once they start to make some of the shots that they did get. But no, Siakam stepped in and he's like, screw this. It's over. Over. He had it going today, man. He looked like the all-star we were used to. He had his shimmies going, spin moves, getting to the bucket, getting to the foul line. I think he had about 8 free throws in the first half. He took 1 or 2 3-pointers, and I think he made one, and just mid-range shots. What Siakam does, right? And by the end of the second quarter, we were up by 21 at the halftime. The Washington Wizards came back in the third quarter. They started doing a little bit. They cut it down to about 16 points by the end of the third quarter. And eventually they got to about 12, I think 3 times in the third quarter, 12-point lead for the Raptors. But the Raptors always made a comeback. And eventually the Raptors win this game by 102-90. So 12-point game. And they had a double back-to-back coming up tomorrow. So I think their Washington's coach just pulled out all of their guys at, I think it was a 3:30 mark. So it was over by that time. But it seems like, the Raptors are finally finding their rhythm. And that's my first key takeaway there. The Raptors are doing things that we used to seeing them do, right? They're communicating better. They're not panicking as much. At least it's just what I've seen in the past 2 games. They're playing with composure. They're trying to make a conservative effort to get to the bucket and try to finish at the bucket, right? They're not doing any of what they used to do, like quick, just putting it up there, hoping it will go in. They're trying to make sure it goes in. And it seems like the Raptors are finally finding that rhythm that they should have, especially ever since Gary Trent came back in the last game. And I think eventually, once all of these guys are starting to play together, the Raptors will find a little bit more chemistry and we will look like an even better unit. And the second key takeaway, guys, I saw is that the Raptors have now come up with a new defensive scheme that is helping them out and it's helping them keep teams under 100 points. And like I said in my last video, the defensive scheme is basically a lot more closer to each other, helping quickly but not for too long. And when one person comes to help one defender, the third defender actually shifts to the second guy, and the guy who is the help defender goes to the third guy's guy most of the time. And it's helping the Raptors be able to close out on 3-point line. It's helping the Raptors to close the lanes, and it's really helping the Raptors disturb the offensive shots. And that seems to be contributing very, very well to the Raptors' overall, rhythm. And the third key takeaway, guys, I'm seeing is on the offensive end. It seems like the Raptors are making a conservative, I don't know what word it is, but anyway, the Raptors are making sure that they are doing more passing. Even if the passing are resulting in a later on ISO, but they're constantly trying to share the ball. There's constantly, dribble handoffs, there's screen setting, there's people cutting back and forth, and they're getting to touch the ball as well. And then when we get to the late, if you don't get a good enough shot from all of those passes, if we get into the late part of the shot clock, it seems like the ISO play is going to the right players. It's not going to, I love Freddie. It goes to him sometimes, but it's mainly going to Pascal, Gary Trent, guys that can create their own shot, right? And they have the length to be able to shoot over defenders if they're not able to create that space or to create their own shot. So it's really turning into a more of a shared ball oriented offense, which the Raptors are, we know them to be, and they're just making more smarter decisions. And it seems like the Raptors are finally figuring things out, even though it might result in a few losses here and there. But the Raptors are on the right path now, at least based on these 2 games. I'm not going to go completely like Raptors are going to kill everybody. No. I think the Raptors are making the right things. Now, if they can continue to do this consistently going forward, there's no stopping the Raptors from getting into the playoffs, because the Raptors now have an 11-13 record. So they're really close in the Eastern Conference, because everybody's close in the Eastern Conference other than Brooklyn. And we beat a team that's in the top 4 in the Eastern Conference in the Washington Wizards, who just lost 1 game past, but they've been hot this season. So that's really good for the Raptors to do. In regards to basically the highlight plays, I think there were 2 highlight plays in this game. One was this pick and roll where, Freddie gives it to Precious, like an oop, and Precious just goes up, all stretches way the hell up, and just jams it in. And I think that was in the first or second quarter. And then the second highlight play I saw for the Raptors was when everybody fighting for this, I think we were up by 12 or 14, and Precious is fighting for this rebound, and so is Utah. Or Gary Trent, one or the other, and it eventually gets into like the tipping each, like tip, and then it gets into Precious's hand. Gatford has 5 fouls, and Precious takes him onto his left, cuts baseline, and just jams it and hangs on the rim, man. And it was sweet, because the Washington Wizards were, they were flying. They were thinking they were too damn good, but those were the highlight plays. They look damn good, man. Precious dunks with some intensity. I forgot one, the takeaway as well. Bench is looking better. Chris Boucher looks a lot better. He's providing the spark that we're used to him providing, and so is Delano Benton. It seems like Chris is also making an effort to get to the rim rather than just standing on the perimeter and trying to shoot 3-pointers. It seems like he's doing the dirty work that he was used to, and now he's getting back to it, and he scored 14 points today, which is damn good, and 7 rebounds. That's what we expect from Chris. We don't need anything else. We will love him for just doing that consistently every game. So that's, that was part of everything that the Raptors did, and that's what led to us beating a top 4 team in the East. The MVP for this game, guys, was Pascal Siakam. Man, that guy looked damn good today. Maybe it was just that it was the celebration for, I think it's basketballs of South Africa, Giants of South Africa, or Nelson Mandela or something. But he looked damn good. And he's finally looking like the all-star. He's getting his rhythm because he didn't get training camp. And he's finally looking good because he had 31 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. And he got to the foul line, I think it was 12 or 14 times, which is so good because we need him to do that. So, guys, that's what I have for you guys pretty much for this game. We got our next game on Wednesday against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't think we're going to beat them by 73 points. But I think we are going to beat them because the Raptors are finally figuring it out. And I think they are going to consistently try their best to make sure that they are, keeping their habits the same. So, guys, that's what I have for you guys for this video. If you enjoyed the content, please hit that like and subscribe to the channel. It would help me out. And I will see you guys after the Oklahoma City Thunder game if it's not a bore fest. Okay, guys, enjoy and keep talking them Raptors.